hotfix plans on December 8th to Friday for what they're going to do about the Abattoir. All right. Hello, all. We want to thank everyone for your feedback have been providing over the last few days since the launch of the Abattoir of Zir. As we talked about at BlizzCon, we wanted to add additional endgame features in Diablo 4 and have players provide feedback for what could be possible permanent additions in the future as we continue growing the player experience in the game. We have some initial changes we want to provide to players in a hotfix tomorrow for the game that we will address some feedback we have been seeing with the Abattoir of Zir. Glyph experience rewards. We're going to adjust glyph experience rewards starting from tier 2 upward to be significantly more as you progress through higher tiers of the Abattoir of Zir. This should help with feedback we've been seeing from players on the amount of time it would take to level up your tiers of blood glyphs, and also benefit other glyphs you may want to level up as well. Problematic affixes. We're planning on disabling Vampiric and Suppressor from Bloodseekers across the game. We understand the difficulty these were providing players. Difficulty and damage reductions. We will be scaling the earlier Abattoir of Zir tiers to be a bit easier for players who are onboarding into this new endgame feature. We have seen players note that the difficulty ramp is excessive even on the first tier for those who are able to complete Nightmare Dungeon 100 before. These changes will allow for more opportunities for players to experience the earlier tiers and grow as they progress through them. Players can expect that tier 10 and beyond will be the same difficulty as they were before the hotfix. Separately, we plan on reducing incoming damage by about 20% on all Abattoir of Zir. Players can expect this hotfix sometime during the day tomorrow. We wanted to get some changes out for this new endgame mode as quickly as possible, and we will be continuing to listen to feedback. We appreciate all the great feedback we have received and want to thank you all again for providing that on our forums, social media, Reddit, and more. Okay, so the first thing I want to say is I'm very impressed with Blizzard fixing the Abattoir in the same week that it came out. It came out on a Tuesday, and already on Friday, they're increasing rewards, removing big problems, letting people actually get into the end game, reducing the damage overall. I find this actually pretty impressive. People will say, well, Rax, it doesn't matter because they did such a dog shit job of releasing it in the first place. Why would you give them credit for fixing it? Well, I mean, if you want to have that opinion, that's fine. But I do give them credit for fixing it in like 4 days. That's pretty good, okay? In my opinion. Let me do the glyph experience rewards last. So this is a godly change. This is exactly what I asked for. Suppressor is way too punishing for everything. I saw people very incorrectly say, I don't know where people make this stuff up in their mind. I don't know where this comes from. People are saying that I was complaining about Suppressor because it only affects me and my build. First of all, I played every class in the Abattoir except Rogue. All of them. And the example that I gave that was the most punishing was the class that I played the least, which was Necro. Bone Spear can't deal with Suppressor at all. So I don't know where people come up with this. Vampiric impacts everybody. If you don't one-shot the Bloodseekers at the end, you lose because they endlessly drain all of their health back. So this is just a straight win. I think Suppressor needs to go permanently in the game, and I think Vampiric can come back in the game. They just need to retune it completely. For the difficulty and the damage reductions, thank God that they're letting people get into it. This doesn't exactly solve the sigil powder situation. People might still be out of it. I don't know how they're going to address that. But 20% less damage off the top should actually make a huge difference. 20% DR might not sound like much, but that is a lot. That's a Shaco, essentially. You all just got a free Shaco that you're wearing now in the Abattoir of Zir. Now, here, this is kind of interesting that they chose to solve it this way. They said that they have significantly increased the glyph XP. That is one way you could do it, and that's fine, and it does have the added benefit of you level up your other glyphs too, although already with the current system, the glyph XP is so high, you can level up your other glyphs practically instantly anyway. So this is kind of like It does help, but it also kind of doesn't. This is not the way that I would have solved this, personally. What I would have done is I would have taken the XP of the glyph itself and brought it way down. The problem is every single level, it costs 17,000 XP. Then it costs 28,000. Then it costs 40,000. And then eventually it costs 300,000 XP per level. The magnitude on this glyph was the problem. So I would have lowered that. But if they increase this as significantly as they're seemingly implying, then that would be fine. So, but now let's think about it in one more way. So let's just say that my napkin math was right. Some people estimate a little bit less if you're a very efficient farmer. Some people estimate more if you're not an efficient farmer. Whatever. Let's just keep it at 330 hours or whatever the number was. So then you ask yourself, before you do any math here, ask yourself a basic question. If this is a mid-season event, the glyph can go from 1 to 200, and 50 is the inflection point where you actually get something really nice, and everything else after that is just like a luxury, essentially. How much time should a player have to put into the abattoir to get the glyph from 1 to 50? How many hours? Is it 10? Is it 20? Is it 30? It is end game content. It's not for casuals. Got to get to 100, got to have a good build, and have to completed the season journey. So these are players that, play the game a little bit. What's the right amount of hours? Let's make up a number. Let's say the number is 30 hours. 30 hours of grinding in the abattoir will give you a 50 glyph and that huge jump in power. Well, if that's the number, then by the napkin math, you would have to make the rewards 10 times higher. So are we going to see numbers 10 times higher tomorrow? I don't know, but that's if you're targeting 30 hours of grinding. And I'm not exactly sure if we're going to see that. So overall, with the amount of changes that they have here and how fast they did it, I am very impressed with this. I think this is a very fair response by Blizzard. And by their tone, it sounds like they might be willing to do some more tweaks later, and they clearly are admitting that it didn't go very well. I give you credit for that. I consider this a W. Nice job, Blizzard.